Life is suffering. This is the first noble truth that the Buddha teaches. When you do not accept that life is suffering, you suffer even more. But when you accept that life is suffering, life becomes easier for you. And this is because we are co-creators with our reality. God is within you, but God is also outside of you in everything and everyone. And your co-creative power is your perception. When you perceive something to be a certain way, that is how you experience it, and that is your reality. But everything is neutral, including your pain. Whatever happens to you, neutral. Your emotions, neutral. We are the ones, as co-creators, that assign meaning to things. And in our society, we tend to demonize pain. We tend to demonize all of these uncomfortable emotions because we are afraid of feeling it. When you suppress or avoid your pain, you encounter more suffering. But when you choose to feel, witness, and integrate your pain, it turns into wisdom. So look at it as like a mirror. You feel and you suppress your pain, or you avoid feeling it, those uncomfortable emotions, you are actually causing resistance, because that's not how life flows. Life is just fluid energy. And when you don't go with the flow, when you don't just allow things to pass and you hold on, you're actually keeping yourself stuck, because then you keep attracting people, places, and situations that repeat the same thing over and over, because what you resist persists. So when you resist your pain will show up in other people. Your pain will show up in different circumstances, and you will keep having the same thing in a loop over and over again. So you can take your pain and translate and turn it into something else, and you can actually redefine what your pain means to you. And this is how you can get everything to work out in your favor. This is all through the process of alchemy, which is transforming one thing into another, and historically transforming lead into gold. But what we're talking about is inner alchemy, transforming yourself, because when you change yourself, you change the world around you. When you start to show up differently, life starts to show up differently for you. When you start to believe in yourself, life starts to believe in you. When you decide that you want to rewrite your story, life co-creates and helps you with it. Pain and destruction is necessary. Rock bottoms are necessary, because it gets you to that point to grow. It clears out everything that's no longer serving you. It makes you aware of things that you weren't even aware of at the time. It helps you gain new skills through that heightened awareness. Think about any piece of artwork. Anything that you see that somebody created is often from their darkest times. It is often through their pain, because they are giving that pain an outlet. And it's something that we can all relate to. Think about a movie that you watch and you're so emotionally invested in the characters, because they're showing their pain, they're showing their turmoil. You can see their inner conflicts. That is why movies are so great, because it shows you the human experience, and pain is part of that experience. We can't continue to avoid it anymore, because we become disconnected from ourselves. Pain is the duality of life. You get to experience both. You get to experience happiness, all of the beautiful things that you get to see and do and create, but that also comes with trials and tribulations. It comes from seasons of isolation, or seasons where you don't know what's gonna happen, or things get scary, times get hard. All of those things go hand in hand. And I am very familiar with this process. I have had to take care of myself pretty much my whole entire life. My mom had me when she was 13 years old. My dad was well into his 20s, fresh out of prison. They had the most toxic relationship that I have ever seen. My mom was not a very nurturing mother. She was actually very abusive and hostile, and I felt more jealousy and competition from her than actual love and respect and kindness. And my dad was very emotionally manipulative and avoidant, and needless to say, I got kicked out at 15 years old. They completely abandoned me, and from that point forward, it went from group home to mental hospital to shelter to different relatives, until eventually I was kicked out at 17 years old. I had no family to rely on, nowhere to go. I was using all of my money to pay for hotel rooms and food and Ubers, and I was just, that point was my rock bottom, and it had become a physical representation of what I had felt my whole entire life, completely and utterly alone. I felt like no one loved me, no one understood me, no one cared about me. I felt the most hurt, angry, betrayed, upset. It felt like a culmination of years of emotions just piled into one experience. Because when I became homeless, it happened like that. Like, I woke up, me and my friend were making breakfast in the morning, and then 2 hours later, all my shit's on the side of the road, whole room's packed up, everything's thrown out in the garage, and I'm like, holy shit, I don't have anywhere to go now. So my life had done a complete 360, and it wasn't like anything that I wasn't used to before. I was used to having to completely uproot my life, move somewhere else, go to CPS, different shelters, and also being blamed for pretty much everything in the process. And so by the time that I was 17 years old, I was crumbling. I was like, I have nobody. I needed somebody. My whole entire journey, I wish that I had a parent. I wish that I had that guide and that parental figure. But it also taught me a lot. When I was 15, I started going into my spiritual journey and learning about a bunch of esoteric concepts and a bunch of inner knowledge and wisdom. And that was for a reason. Because by the time that I got to 17 years old, I started asking myself, okay, what purpose does this have? What lesson is this? I knew enough about law of attraction and manifestation to know that we create our own reality. I knew that perception was reality. And so I started asking myself, what can I gain from this? How can I be better? How can I change into a different person? How can I learn to forgive? Even though I was so hurt and so upset, and I wanted to y'all don't even know. I was screaming, crying, like I can't even put into words what I felt. But at the same time, I had the courage to ask myself, how can I move through this? How can I learn from this? And through my pain, I've learned that I have tons of strength. The survival skills that I learned growing up is going to carry me forward into the life that I am now creating. All of the things that I've learned from the people that I've encountered, from the situations I've been in, the cycles that I've repeated, I have the lessons and the tools to carry me forward into the season of my life. I actually used everything that I had learned to build my dream life. I started making vision boards when I was in those hotel rooms. I started talking to God. I would pull tarot spreads and like read into my situation, and they were like perfectly accurate. I would be at the right place at the right time. I ended up getting into an 18-month shelter that gave me, you know, everything that I needed for the time being. I decided to go all in on my business. I was still making, I'm looking at them right now, they're all on my wall, making all of these vision boards, deciding to start a podcast because I knew that I was supposed to share my story. I knew that my pain had purpose, and that was my outlet. That was my channel. I channeled all of that pain into making videos, making content creation, making sure that people knew my story and what I'd been through, so that other people who also felt alone or who also feel like they're dealing with so much stuff that no one understands, I can be that person for them. I can be to someone else what I needed growing up, because I decided to heal. I decided to feel my emotions, go through the fire, and make it out on the other side. So number one is confrontation / self-awareness. You have to confront your fears head on. You have to confront what's been bothering you, the situations that you've been in, that sad story that keeps coming up in your head whenever you try to go out and do something new or change. Whatever's holding you back, you have to face it. You have to name it and identify it. And the second thing, which is probably the most hardest, is letting go. Letting go of old identities, roles you played, attachments, anything that you did in survival. Letting that past version of yourself go. Now, this does not mean destroying or killing off your old self like a lot of people in the spiritual community suggest. It's just about learning how to forgive and let go. You are deciding that that old version of yourself no longer has control. You love and honor and respect yourself and the identities that it took and all of the things that you've went through to get to this point, but you are now choosing to let it go and integrate it, because now you know the lessons from it, you know what you gained, you are aware of the fact that it has wisdom, but now you are deciding, this current version of yourself is deciding where you want to move forward from here. And then you'll actually start to think about who you want to become, what type of life you want to live, and what you actually want to experience. And your current self can get you to that future self through your intuition, which can be another video for another time. And number three, you want to separate separate truth from conditioning. So now that you know what has hurt you and you have an idea of where you want to go, it's important that you separate what's truth and what's that old version of you talking, or those old patterns popping up. And this is why self-awareness is so crucial. Sorry, my camera died, you guys. This Sony ZV-1F camera battery is ass. It keeps dying on me like mid-video, so I apologize for the cut. But you want to ask yourself, what would this higher version of yourself do? What are the actions that you are taking? And is it aligned with a previous version of you? Does it feel comfortable? Does it feel safe? Or is it aligned with your dream life? Are you taking risks? Are you doing things outside of what you would normally do? And through identifying what your past self experienced and what you now want to create, you now have a GPS system. And a little hack that I like to think about is whenever I'm feeling something uncomfortable, whenever I'm feeling a really big emotion like fear and I don't know how to deal with it, I approach it as if my inner child is coming up to me and telling me how they felt about a situation. Hey, I feel scared right now. Or think about, or really pay attention to the thoughts that are going on in your head, and approach it as if you were sitting down with that younger version of yourself and they are telling you what they are feeling, and you allow yourself to feel that. You hold space for your inner child. In a way, this is sort of reparenting yourself. If you weren't taught emotional safety, nervous system regulation growing up, this is you deciding that your pain has purpose, it has meaning, learning the wisdom and the lessons through it, and feeling it. So when you are also learning how to choose this other path and these old behaviors and patterns want to come up, you can start to feel them but not act on them. So you can give them an outlet and emotion. Maybe you take that sadness or anger you felt as a kid and you channel it into one of your videos. You make a video talking about your story or what you've been through. Or maybe another channel, if you're a writer, you take all of the things that you experience and the pain that you're currently feeling and you write it in that book. Or maybe you paint it out, or throw shit around, or scream in your pillow. These are really good nervous system regulation techniques. Somatic breathing. So I like to listen to this guy called Breathe with Sandy on YouTube. He does amazing breathwork videos. I'll link it down in the description below. But these are some techniques you can use to regulate your nervous system when you're feeling uncomfortable, because the thing about alchemy is that we are not avoiding anything. We are living completely in our truth. And that means that sometimes you will feel the urge to go back to what's familiar and comfortable. Sometimes you will have negative thoughts. Sometimes you won't do your best. We are imperfect. We are not perfect human beings. I still mess up. I still make mistakes. I'm not completely healed. None of us will ever be fully and completely healed. You can have your dream life because you are you. It doesn't matter what mistakes you made in the past. It doesn't matter how you're feeling now. You are still a co-creator. That truth hasn't been wiped away from you. You're just removing all of the illusions that have been preventing you from seeing it. You're peeling back those layers of conditioning, the you that you learned through other people. Because like I said at the beginning of the video, we were all conditioned in some way. Our parents passed trauma down to us, limiting beliefs down to us, so many ideologies that weren't even our own. And so if we're not exposed to anything different, if we're not changing, we're repeating generational cycles. This is how generational cycles repeat. No one decides to step out of that and break the chain by doing something different, by changing, by becoming different. Which is why I never understood in our society why we expect people to do the same thing, why people are so scared of things changing. We're expected to just follow one line. Go to school, go to college, do this, do that. The same expectation is placed on everybody without taking into account or taking into fact that we are all different. We are all unique. We have different gifts and talents, and it's just crazy to me that so many people sleep on their own potential because we're not changing and we're not growing and we're not evolving, which is the whole purpose of life. And as soon as you understand that and begin to let go of the conditioning, let go of everything that was taught to you, and decide what you want for yourself and what feels best to you, it just feels amazing. I forgot what I was going to say before that, but it feels amazing. Once you understand this, you are in control now. It doesn't matter what anybody else tells you. It doesn't matter who other people think you are. It matters you. You matter. Your perception matters. And what you think and what you feel about yourself matters. And so many of us are disconnected from our own power because we weren't even taught that we had it in the first place. I grew up feeling powerless. You guys already know. I told you my story. I shared how my parents were like. They didn't even know themselves. And so I got to know myself in a way through them. Because if they hadn't shown me what love wasn't, I don't think I would start to begin to know what love was, if that makes sense. Like, if I wasn't abandoned, then I wouldn't have had the opportunity to find myself. I wouldn't have had the opportunity to be where I am now. Like, I'm just thinking back to, like, yeah, we all wish things were different or we could go back and do different things, but my whole entire journey has taught me to be self-reliant, to be independent. And if I was to go back and live with my parents, or maybe things were different with them, then I don't know if I would have learned the same lessons or have the same knowledge that I do now. And I love where I'm at. I've gotten myself out of tons of situations. I have been through hell and back, and I have created this. I've always wanted my own car. I've always wanted my own apartment and just a space to be myself, and I get to do that, and I get to share it with others. I brought myself to this point, and a huge contribution to that was doing the work, being my own savior. It was me that got me to this point by helping myself, and by helping myself, I can help you guys. I've always been a truth seeker. I've always been curious, asking questions, and just really wanting to know the deeper meanings behind life. I've always been that type of person, and I think it's because I have been alone, and I was searching for a really long time for validation and love outside of myself, and that truth ultimately led me back to myself because I was searching for love. I was searching for all of these things, and I found it within where it all originated. Like, it's me coming back home to myself, and I'm really proud of that. So I just want you to really look at all of your pain and all of the suffering and the things that you've been through and kind of shift your perception. The alchemical process strips away who you thought you had to be so that you can remember who you always were. This whole journey is the process of becoming and coming back home to yourself. So I want you to take one action today. I want you to grab a piece of paper and write out everything that you've experienced. I want you to share your story, share your truth, everything that you have felt. Just pour your heart out and let those past versions of yourself speak. Let your pain rise to the surface. And then I want you to honor yourself, truly honor yourself. Reread the paper, reread it again, and say, wow, I did that. I have been through that, and I am now at this place in my life. Look at all of the strengths that you have had. Instead of dwelling on your mistakes and all of the things that you shoulda, coulda, woulda, I want you to start acknowledging yourself, giving yourself that grace. And if you feel called to share, write it down in the comments, or you can join my Substack. So thank you guys for watching this video, and if you made it to the end, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and join me on all of my other social media platforms. And like always, I will have all the resources linked down in the description.